Hey guys, today I got a quick video on how to sharpen and balance lawnmower blades. I'm working on an older model MTD mower, but it's going to be basically the same principle on any type of lawnmower. You will have different adapters on some of them. This is the type of adapter we have on this one, and you can see this one's broke. I'll talk about this in more detail here in a minute. But on the newer mowers, you may not have this adapter. You'll have like a spline cut in here, and we'll probably look at one here later on in the video. If you have that, then you just have a nut on the bottom of the quill assembly. You take that out, and you don't have to fool with replacing these all the time because these always break. And this is what I was talking about. This is a star type. There are different types in this too, but this is about the most common you'll see. So this blade's shaped completely different than the stamped bottom. So there's the part number for that one. You can tell this is the side that goes up because the nut is the same size and the stamped bottom over here on that. So how you tell if it's the right size. If that's wore off and you can't tell that, the bottom has this dip in it. So, okay, I'm working on the shoot side first here. I already got the blade in position here. Getting underneath there, I can probably feel it here. Since this is missing the rubber boot, it's liable to scratch it probably down the bare metal, so you gotta keep an eye on that when you use these things. Just check that your blade hits both sides of it, and you know you got it locked when you're ready to loosen the bolt out of the blade. It just keeps it from spinning on you. And here's what it looks like from the underside. As you can see, it holds the blade pretty good. And what I always do, you see these 3 bolts there? I take out the center one, and it goes right into the quill assembly, and the adapter comes off with it, because you always want to grease that adapter while you're here. The way you don't have to, or put anti-seize on it, the way it won't get stuck. Makes it a lot easier to take apart again. So I'm going to go ahead and get that center bolt out. On this one it's 9/16 drive, so we'll look at it on the bench here in just a minute. Okay, here it is on the bench, and before I say anything, the first thing you probably notice is this cracked adapter here. Well, these things always do this, and on my own mowers I don't ever replace them because we got a lot of roots and rocks around here, and that's what talls the blades all the time. Try your best not to hit them all the time, but you're always going to. And as soon as you hit one root or even a stick or something, it's going to break them just like this. But I highly recommend replacing these. Probably, as much as they break, you probably have to replace these about once a year, and I've never had a problem with one being broke like this, because it can't throw it out of balance or anything, because by the time you get that center bolt in there on the shaft, and you can't weld them because they're cast iron. Okay, anyway, let's look at the blade edge here. See, that's pretty dull. And another thing, I'll go ahead and talk about it. So this video is like a redo of a older video I did on sharpening blades with my old camera, and I thought I'd make it a little better quality one. But I was going to correct something too, a mistake I always made up until recently. I just sharpened these last year. I don't know why I didn't do it the right way. I used to always do what they call a double bevel, so that the edge of the blade looks like a V, comes in like that. But I had a few comments on that other video saying that's the wrong way to do lawnmower blades. And let me draw it out on paper and we'll look at it here, the proper way to sharpen a lawnmower blade. Okay, what you're looking at, be like you're looking at the corner of the cutting blade, edge of the blade. You see at the top is the wrong way to do it. It's the double bevel, which is the way I've always done it up until recently. But the bottom single bevel is the correct way to do it. If you ever buy a brand new blade from the factory, the edge will be cut like this. Now I'm not sure what the angle is supposed to be and all that, but I just cut a pretty good slope on there, probably about the same angle as what I've drawn on there. It's not real critical. But if you do too sharp of an angle, it'll won't cut very good. It'll just mash the grass over. But if you cut it too long of an angle, it'll be more apt to dull and bend when you hit a branch or something. You can see what I'm talking about here, how it kind of both comes to a point there. So we're going to go ahead and grind this down. What I'm going to have to do to fix this is first I'm going to have to grind on this so it just squares it off, and I'm just going to re-grind the angle on it completely. And I'll try to show a little bit of the grinding on here. We'll go ahead and talk about grinder safety a little bit. If you're going to be grinding indoors, make sure that there's nothing that can catch on fire. So don't do it around a gas can or any cans of spray paint laying around or motor oil cans laying around. Plastic or wood chips or sawdust or anything like that. You can use a bench grinder or an angle grinder or anything like that. And also don't be grinding around a vehicle battery or a lawnmower battery that's charging or has just been started or something, because batteries can put out hydrogen gas and that can explode. So you don't want that to happen either. So you just got to be real careful about it. And if you can, do it outside. That's the best place to grind if you can. But in this case, I got to grind inside because I'm going to be putting this in the vise. So I just got to be real careful with it. And keep an eye on your sparks as much as you can. And wear safety glasses and or a face shield. See, for right now I just ground it flat. Now I'm going to grind the angle on it here. And you gotta be careful, it's probably still pretty hot. You don't want like a razor blade edge, you just want to be able to feel just a little bit of an edge on there. If you get it razor sharp, you'll dull it in about 2 or 3 minutes as soon as you cut it, if you get a razor sharp edge on there. But you can get a pretty good idea of how much of an angle I got on it. Like I said, it's not real critical, you just gotta be consistent with it. And it's sharp enough to cut you too, so you gotta be careful with that. I might try to get just a hair sharper than this. But that's all I'm going to show on camera, because I'm sure the grinding gets boring here after a while. But I just wanted to show that to show exactly how I'm using the grinder, you know. And don't use one of them if you don't know what you're doing, because it's easy for one to walk up your arm or something or get caught in a shirt. If you see I made a big mistake here wearing a long sleeve shirt, I figure somebody would say something about that. It's a little cold out today, and I'm pretty careful when I run one of these. I've done it quite a bit, so don't wear a long sleeve shirt when you're running this, or especially a bench grinder. Either one can be dangerous. I'll just stop grinding right here. You could go up to that bend or whatever. Just pay attention to how it was before you started, and you usually don't have to grind that flat like I did on this. You can usually just re-sharpen what's there. Maybe grind it down a little bit on the top to get rid of the dings in it, the bends, then grind your angle on it. You should be good to go. When we get the other side ground, then we'll balance it and put it back on. That's pretty much all I'm going to show for the sharpening part of the blade. Now if you wanted to smooth it out, you could take a file on there or something and smooth it out, but it's not real critical. Okay, now I got a pretty good edge on both sides. I'm going to go ahead and balance them. Now the balance blades, it's recommended to have one of these little things. They're about the most aggravating thing ever, but they do work. You just get your blade centered on there, on the step there, make sure it's sitting on there, and see where it goes. And you see I got mine pretty good here. Just gotta make sure it's sitting on there right. As long as you grind the same on both sides, you can usually get them pretty good. See, I kept moving on there. I think this side is a little heavy. See how it's curling over this way? That means this side's a little too heavy, so I'm going to take a little bit off of here, about right through here. And since it's a little heavier on this side, I'll just, you can either keep sharpening it some, but I hate to do that since I got a pretty good edge. What I usually do, just kind of grind right in here. You can see before where I've done that, that takes the weight off pretty good. So let me go ahead and grind that a little bit, and we'll get back to you after I get it balanced. And when you get it sitting level like this, and pretty close to being level this way, you got it good enough. The problem, you're probably wondering what happens if you don't balance blades. Well, if you don't balance blades, you're going to have a vibration on the deck, and that's not good. It can work stuff loose and cause other problems. And plus, since it's out of balance, you're putting extra stress on the bearings in the spindle assembly or quill assembly, whatever you want to call it. And you can wear out your quill assemblies in no time. And it can also wear the belt some too after a while. Well guys, that's about it for this video, and I'm going to go and get the other blade sharpened. Well, this blade here is ready to go back on, so I'm going to do it off camera, but just get that lined up in your holder, then line it up on the, so it slides up on there, and put a little bit of grease down in here, or anti-seize, whatever you're going to be using. Then you can put the bolt up through it there after you get the splines lined up, and you'll be good to go. So if you got any questions or comments, leave a comment below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So thanks for watching.